Touchdown.
We're here. Welcome, everybody. This is the No Politics Podcast, the most dope, most real, the most must listen, wrestling / sports / music, whatever the fuck we want podcast in the whole motherfucking podcast world. And I am one half of the team. And my name is Faking No Moves. And I'm here with my boy.
Working Genius. What up, everybody?
Yeah. We're going to start this show off a little differently. Usually we start with wrestling, but we have a lot of action going on in the NFL free agency today and yesterday. So, without further ado, let's jump into this NFL business before we jump into the WWE business.
I agree. There's been a lot going on in the NFL world. Free agency is always an exciting period. People just go anyway, especially in the NFL. Like, in the NFL, I feel like people are more likely to chase money because it's a shorter lifespan in the NFL. So, you'll see the people take the money from, like, the lower teams, like the Jags, that have the cap space and money to throw around. So, like, for example, Calais Campbell went to the Jags. That's kind of crazy. For me, anyway, I thought that was big time for the Jags. They're quietly putting together a solid defense when you think about it. So
I know the thing too is crazy that, like, out of all the movement I've seen, I've been seeing the Jags really making a lot of movement regarding their lines, like their defensive lines and offensive lines. I think they even picked up a good cornerback.
AJ Bouye, that's my guy, bro.
AJ Bouye from the Texans, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're making moves. To me, though, the most surprising pickup is my team's pickup, Brandon Marshall.
That was surprising.
Like, I'm happy we got Brandon Marshall. I did not expect it. Like, when Brandon Marshall got released, me and you had this conversation, not on the podcast, just, between each other, like, yo, Brandon Marshall, where you think he's going to go? I know he wanted to chase the chip. But you was telling me, like, the number one location is looking like the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I said, that sounds like where he should be.
Because Steve Smith and, Steve Smith had just gone, that veteran receiver to come and take that role. That's what I thought. But I actually... Not to cut you off, I actually saw something like maybe 2 days before he signed where they were talking about why wouldn't he just stay in New York but go to the Giants? Because, like same area, same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even got to go nowhere. You could keep the same locker room spot and all that. But I didn't put too much thought into it.
I didn't see that anywhere, and I definitely didn't think it was even possible. But when I heard that it happened, I was like, "What? Okay, like I could dig that. Like I definitely really, really look forward to seeing what we could do with two weapons like that and a young Sterling Shepard, second year in the league. Hopefully, this brings him opportunities because now we got two, threats besides him that might open up the field for him, So I definitely would love to see what's going to happen between those three guys. And like you said, I was like, damn, this is even better for him. He don't even got to move. Literally, he's playing in the same arena, the same stadium. All he has to do is switch the color of his jersey.
Yeah. I
Win-win.
I thought it was a whack signing for y'all. No. No, I love Brandon Marshall. Like, I've loved Brandon Marshall for a long time. But here's the giant hate. But he's turning 33. Can he still be effective 1 year later? Here's my thing. They're not gonna ask him to be a number one receiver. That's where you got it made.
Yeah.
Because he just gotta outmuscle people. Red zone threat. Odell's gonna do Odell. Like you said, is gonna open up opportunities. Gonna open up the field for Sterling Shepard. In the slot, like it's almost a perfect situation. It's a perfect fit, in my opinion. Marshall could be a stud. I mean, just before last year, before the quarterback struggles, before he trailed off towards the end of the year, he killed the year before. That was the year him and Decker caught double-digit touchdowns. Like,
and I still feel last year for the struggles that they had, he was pretty solid.
I
I mean,
thought
eventually Eric Decker went down, so he was literally their only dude. Quincy Anunwa came out of nowhere and was a little stud as well. But Brandon Marshall, for not having Decker and having those quarterback troubles, still I thought had a decent season.
I thought he started off the season strong, and like you said, like that's when they had Decker though, you know,
Yeah.
and I thought he started off the season strong. I believe it was they had that Thursday night game against the Bills where he freaking looked like he freaking tore something in his knee, came back in the second half like and continued to play well, but then Decker went down, and then Anunwa did come out of nowhere like you said and played well. But his numbers definitely trailed off. You could say that's quarterback troubles, whatever. The argument that I was actually making in our group chat, our fantasy group chat, was that Robbie Anderson was still getting his numbers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if another receiver was thriving while he was doing nothing, while he was kind of trailing off, did he take a step back? Like, who knows? Because age and receivers, like it was just
I'm
3 years
not to
ago.
cut you off, but you're
Oh
gonna give Robbie Anderson some props.
no, he played
After you was
well.
just shitting on him when Rich, the reigning champ Rich,
Yeah,
beat
I'm gonna
you
shit on
because of
him,
Ryan Anderson, and
Robbie
you was
Anderson. Yeah, I'm gonna shit on. Okay, first of all, I did. Okay, here's what happened. What he's referring to is my loss in the what's the round before the semifinals? I guess the quarterfinals.
quarterfinals.
Well, not really, because there wasn't 8 teams left. There was 6 teams left. So like, okay, that round. Anyway, yeah. My thing was my receivers were Mike Evans, Hopkins, and Devontae Adams. These guys are like studs in real life. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Devontae Adams isn't necessarily a
and
stud, but he
Robbie
played
Anderson
well.
had the game of his life.
And Robbie and this kid beat me with Tyler Boyd, Robbie Anderson, and Deshaun Jackson. They totally destroyed and outplayed Evans, Hopkins, and Devontae Adams. Who like that shit? Like, and I know Hopkins was dealing with Osweiler, which we definitely need to touch on
Oh
Osweiler
yeah.
and what happened today. But that was my problem was with. That's why I was shitting on Robbie Anderson, because he shouldn't
Well,
be. Come on, put his name next to Hopkins and Evans, and it's like,
yeah,
come on.
exactly. So your point's invalid.
Okay, no, no,
But
no.
let's
Robbie
just move
Anderson got his
on
numbers.
because
No,
you
no, no,
brought
no, no,
Brock
no. Because I
Osweiler up
brought.
already.
Wait. We're gonna. But let me finish this thought on Marshall. So with age, there tends to be a decline. Obviously, Father Time is undefeated. It was just 2 seasons ago. Like Andre Johnson was all right. Andre Johnson was still all right. Roddy White was still all right 2 to 3 years ago. And then like they just both kind of fell off a cliff. They just both kind of like, wait, oh shit, now they ain't shit no more. Hopkins came
Anquan
up.
Bolden.
Yeah, like they just kind of get quiet. So, but I would say Marshall, if he can keep up, if he can maintain and still be the Brandon Marshall we know, excellent pickup for the Giants. The Giants have been doing
Jesus,
really well.
Jesus, from his mouth to your ears, bless our team. Do not let none of this hate hinder
Oh
us,
my gosh.
because there's gonna be a lot of haters.
You're gonna need to say
There's
prayers.
gonna be
You're gonna
wait
need
no.
to say prayers similar to that all season.
I'm just gonna for the whole next season. Anytime in our group chat I see anything negative towards the Giants, I'm literally gonna hit y'all with the same line every time. I'm gonna say, well, what do we got here?
Okay.
A couple haters.
You never even in the group chat, first of all. Second of all, I think it's an excellent pickup. The Giants have been doing really well in free agency these last couple of years. Last year they did really well and shoring up that defense. So I like this move. As long as Marshall can be the Marshall we know, I think it's a beastly pickup, and I think kind of a threat. I guess. But let's move on. Let's talk about Osweiler,
yeah.
like you was about
Osweiler,
to say.
and then we also got to talk about the Giants' rivalry in our NFC East. We touched on them a little bit before we started recording,
Yes,
the Eagles. So, Brock Osweiler gets traded after 1 year with the Texans and getting signed for one of the biggest contracts in the NFL. Gets traded with a second round pick to the Cleveland Browns, and the trash ass Cleveland Browns They're not even interested in him. They want to cut his ass.
I heard
What the fuck?
I heard there's a CFL team that's interested in Brock Osweiler.
That's
but
crazy.
but no, like yeah. I mean, but can you really blame them? Are we surprised? Okay, the first of all, the thing I like about the Cleveland Browns is that they look like they're ready to, turn this shit around. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And the fact that they're like, yeah, we got Brock Osweiler, but fuck that. We know he's not our franchise quarterback. The fact that even they're stepping up and saying and doing that, that's
Yeah.
like, okay, Cleveland Brown,
Yeah.
okay. Y'all not just taking anything no more. You know,
Yeah.
y'all ready to turn this shit around, and I'm happy for them. Unfortunately, they're probably losing Terrell Pryor, but
I know, retarded. I mean, they signed Kenny Britt,
yeah.
which was a decent pickup. Let's see what he could do there. I mean, he was all right last year for the Rams. He wasn't
He
the
was their top.
great,
But it wasn't his fault. He played well, with
and they
the
had no
person
quarterback. Like
throwing to
none of
him.
the,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
exactly,
But who's the quarterback in Cleveland? Like, come on.
exactly.
You know what I
They're
mean?
gonna have to draft
RG
someone, or
three,
they don't have
huh?
anyone in the system right now that's gonna be the guy. They need to draft
Yeah.
someone.
My coworker, he's actually a big Cleveland Browns fan. Like that's
I'm
his team.
so sorry for your coworker, but continue.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But he's a good dude and stuff. So he was saying that when he heard Brock Osweiler, he was like, "No way! For what? For what? Why?" He was like, "Honestly, I'm more happy about that second round pick." And I was like, "Hey, maybe that's what it's about." And then we started hearing they're gonna cut him and all that. He was like, "Honestly, I don't want him. I don't want them to do RG3. He likes Cody Kessler, but he was saying them get what's that guy Garrett, Miles Garrett."
Yeah,
Miles Garrett, number one pick, and he was like, maybe in the second round or something, we could get like Deshaun Watson. Like
yeah.
he's big on them getting Deshaun Watson if Watson falls to
Falls.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who
I
knows?
mean, they have a ton of picks. They've just been stockpiling picks. And if there's a draft where those picks are big, like, I love this draft class. I don't know how much you know about this draft class, but personally, this draft class is pretty damn deep in the pass rusher department, and the DBs are deep.
Bro, the DBs in the combine were running just faster, if not
Bro,
faster than the running backs.
bro, I've been super excited about these DBs. Like, me and a friend of ours, Kyle, me and him, before every combine, before every draft, we like try to do our research on players and pick like who we like and who we
Yeah.
think are value picks prior to anything. And so we've been tremendously excited about these DBs. These DBs are deep. So if there's a draft to have this many picks, the Browns could turn this shit around if they can draft well.
Yeah.
Miles Garrett is a stud.
Yeah.
He's unreal. Did you see his 40? Did you see him run his 40? Bruh, he's
Did
moving.
you see his fucking vertical? He jumps higher than Odell Beckham.
Bro, I'm telling
He
you.
jumps higher
he's
than
a
Odell
freak.
Beckham. He doesn't even have to catch the ball.
Yeah, he's a freak. So they can turn it around as soon as this year if they can draft well, if they can nail a quarterback maybe, they've been shoring up that O line.
That's what I was just gonna say too. They picked up some dude from the Packers, and they picked up
Treader at center, I believe, was the guy from the Packers.
and they picked up the guy from the Bengals,
Zeitler, was it?
Zeitler.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So they're making moves. They're definitely trying to turn it around. Another team that's making moves, like I touched on a little bit, the Eagles. They signed two good receivers. They're trying to put their team together and give the Cowboys and the Giants some competition in that NFC East, because the Redskins sure ain't. They lost all their people.
Yeah.
They fucking, and they just fired their GM.
Yeah. Alcoholism is rough. No, not to joke, but yeah, the Redskins have looked like they're ready to fall apart. They did after or before or in sync with the fact that they fired their GM. I believe Kirk Cousins did sign the franchise tag, so he'll be playing with them next year. But yeah, they lost Garcon, they lost Djax, so
Yeah.
but they still have Jordan Reed, so that's good. They still have, man. I don't want to say too much.
They re-signed Vernon Davis.
Okay. Nah, There are things I want to say, but then I don't want to say them because we are in a fantasy league together
Yeah.
and we are in the same division. So I don't know how I'm gonna maneuver through this year. I'm gonna have to be lying to you over the podcast, like, yo, you know who they got? Vernon Davis. They just signed Vernon Davis. You
Vernon
know,
Davis is a stud.
like I don't know how to go about this, and I'm so conflicted right now. But
I mean, it's all right, man. I'll probably forget everything by
now you won't.
next week.
You're gonna, yeah, right. That's how you bait me in. That's how you told me, oh, I'm gonna pick Sasha Banks to beat Nia Jax, and you just bait me in. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that with you. You have nothing to lose because me, I'm in the playoffs every year. You here and there.
Yo, I made. Wait, did I make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I eliminated you. You scrub.
Eliminated me. 2 years in a row, I made the playoffs, but I got eliminated first round both times.
Yeah. Have you ever been? You haven't. You've made the playoffs 3 times in what, 5 years?
Yeah.
And or maybe 4 years, or 3
No,
times
4 years. Yeah. No, 4 years. Yeah. Only 1 year I missed it.
Yeah, and every year you've made the playoffs, you've been eliminated in the first round.
First round, which
Shut up! Shut up! Don't talk about.
It's like the Knicks. No, I'm joking. When we do make the playoffs, nah. But we always got next year. Next year's our year.
We taking it this year. No,
right?
but what we talking
about? But yeah,
the Eagles, yes.
They picked up Alshon Jeffrey. They also picked up Torrey Smith, which is, I live in Pennsylvania at the moment, and I'm quick to shit on the Eagles without hesitation. I don't give a fuck if they fucking sign motherfucking Antonio fucking Brown.
All right.
I'm gonna say they still trash. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But you brought it to my attention. Like, they kind of rounded out their receiving core, and they can be a threat. Like, because Jordan Matthews ain't good on the outside, so now you said you put him in the slot.
He can stay in the slot. Yep.
That's where he thrives at.
Listen.
You tell him. Let him know.
Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith are first-round fantasy picks this year. Nah, I'm just talking about shit. I'm just trying to throw you off. I'm trying to fuck your shit up right now. I know we got a podcast to do, but I got a league to win, so bear with me, fantasy football fans. Like, you know what this is. No, Alshon Jeffrey is a beast to me. He can't stay healthy. That's the problem. He has a history of like soft tissue injuries. Nothing like crazy. Like he's not like tearing, ligaments and shit like that. But always like a hamstring will hamper him here and there. So it's tough. But when he plays, he puts up numbers. He's a beast. He's strong. He's big. To me, he's an excellent red zone target. He can get the deep ball. He's not gonna beat you with speed, but he's gonna out battle you for the ball upfield. And then they have Torrey Smith now, who's going to take the top off the defense. So they got that speed, and they got that red zone possession guy. They can keep Jordan Matthews in the slot where he belongs, where he's killed. And then they have Zach Ertz, too, who I drafted Zach Ertz last year. I was expecting a big year because Doug Peterson, who comes from that Kansas City offense, you see what they can do with Travis Kelce. So to me, I was like, oh, shit, Ertz. He's going to be a beast. And I dropped Ertz the week before they started using him. After that Dallas Cowboys, I believe it was a Sunday night game, Cowboys Sunday night or Monday night game, I saw it, and I was like, this is disgusting that they don't even look his way. And then I dropped him, and then he broke out, and I was tired.
Maybe this year could be his year.
Yeah, I mean...
You know what I'm saying? Now that he has more options out there on the field, like last year it was literally Jordan Matthews and him.
Exactly.
You cover them, you're good.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And they both operate in the middle of the field, if anything. So,
exactly.
You just cover the middle of the field, and their outside receivers are going to drop everything. Like that was the way you play the Eagles. Now, as long as they can get a running back, that's the thing. Because Ryan Matthews, they don't want him. He can't stay healthy. They like Darren Sproles in his little role, but they're hesitant to commit to Darren Sproles as a full-time, starting running back. He's not, you're not going to hand the ball off to Darren Sproles 15 times a game.
He's never been that
exactly.
either.
So if they can get a running back that fits, if they can draft one, there's some solid running backs in this draft class. They have the 14th pick. Dalvin Cook if there's an NFL player comparison, it's Jamal Charles. Doug Peterson comes from Kansas City. Who did he have in Kansas City? Jamal Charles.
Charles.
Dalvin Cook they have the 14th pick. They got the pick over the Colts. They had to do a coin flip. People were projecting the Colts to take Dalvin Cook. Now the Eagles actually have the 14th pick. The Colts have the 15th. They can go running back there and take Dalvin Cook. They don't have to. I don't think Dalvin Cook personally, like everyone's hype on Dalvin Cook. I've never loved Dalvin Cook. You get him in space and you're solid. You get him in space, cool. But I'm not in love with his skill. Like I mentioned the Jamal Charles comparison, but he's not Jamal Charles. Don't get it twisted. So if he has a similar skill set to Jamal Charles, you get Dalvin Cook, you draft him, man, that offense is ready to go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
With a ton of young talent too. Like all that talent is young. It's a ton of young talent on that offense. If you get Cook, you got Wentz, Torrey Smith. It seems like he's been around a while, but he's still relatively young, if I'm not mistaken. Alshon is young. Alshon's only turning 27, or he's 27. Still, Alshon's young. Jordan Matthews is young.
Young as hell.
Zach
Jordan
Ertz
Matthews
is
like
young.
24.
Yeah,
like our age.
Young. Like, bruh, they could be a problem.
But yeah, you mentioned Brandon Cooks, also rumored to be traded to Eagles,
which
right?
I believe he won't be at this point.
At this point, I think it's better if he goes to the Titans.
Yeah.
I know the Titans are interested in him, but who knows? But I was also going to say, like, the thing with, like, today was the first day of free agency, and all the wide receivers are on the move quick, but no running backs have moved, besides Danny Woodhead, who signed with the Ravens. But
the Ravens,
every other,
I feel like, have been signing a lot of people, but continue.
But every other running back, I feel like it's a feeling out process. Jamal Charles.
Speaking exactly. And AP.
And Murray.
And
both in Seattle. Huh?
AP.
AP. Who else? AP, Jamal Charles, Latavius Murray.
Eddie Lacy.
Yup. Eddie Lacy's another one. And, well, those are like the headlines of the running back class for the free agency this year. And none of them have officially agreed with anybody. AP, I haven't even heard nothing about him even meeting with nobody. So
yeah, he says he's interested in either the Raiders or Seattle, a.k.a. he just wants to be in a position, to win.
To win.
With the Raiders.
I think he'll fit go with Raiders.
Oh, my God. That's exactly what I was going to say. A lot of offensive weapons they already have. And that O-line, imagine AP behind that O-line.
I think he definitely needs to go to the Raiders, man.
Yeah.
And then Derek Carr is going to be healthy again next year, so that'd be crazy. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, if he's going to go somewhere, he should go there. But yeah, the running backs, I feel like a lot of them are untrustworthy. Speaking of, I was saying Dalvin Cook is similar to Jamal Charles. What if the Eagles just signed Jamal Charles? You know what I'm saying? It's the thing is, people don't want to sign like AP because he's getting older, and now people don't want to sign Jamal Charles because he's coming off another knee injury. So people, can you trust Eddie Lacy and his weight? Like so they're gonna wait them out a little bit. Let them get a little desperate. And that's when you can get them for a bargain. You know what I'm saying?
My coworker was saying, he was like, "Yo, Eddie Lacy is out there too. What if Eddie Lacy signs with fucking another team, and fucking AP goes to the Packers?"
Yeah, I've heard that too.
That's a possibility. If AP went with the Packers, oh my God, that'd be fucking scary.
Yeah,
I'd really fucking hate the Packers if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's AP and the Packers are another team that is in win mode, so it fits with the Seahawks and the Raiders type teams. Like, these are teams that are threats. So, I mean, we're gonna have to see this play out a little longer. But if any of those running backs, like Charles or AP or Lacy, if any team can trust them and they could, come up big and reward them for that trust, then a team could be getting a bargain.
Another running back, LeGarrette Blount.
That's another one.
Yep. And we haven't heard nothing from him. Who knows where he goes? He could stay with the Patriots.
He could. I mean, they treat him well. I mean,
But
it's
imagine
never
if he
bad to be
goes
on
and
a team
AP
like
goes.
that.
Imagine he leaves and AP goes to the Patriots.
Nah,
AP
get
got a
the fuck
lot of
out of here.
options, bro.
Yo, Cooks, apparently the Patriots really want Cooks, too. Like,
Oh
now that we
yeah,
spoke about the Patriots a little
they
bit,
were willing to trade fucking Malcolm Butler for this dude.
which is crazy because the Patriots don't usually pay, for big time receivers. They kind of do it with anyone, is their
Yeah.
little narrative. So,
Speaking of them, they also traded for Dwayne Allen.
they did. Wow, that was a very low key move too.
Yeah, and Martellus Bennett's out there. Jack Doyle's still out there, which I'm
The Colts are
guessing
gonna
the Colts are
resign
gonna
him if they're
keep him
gonna
if they got rid of
Dwayne
Allen.
Allen. Yep.
But yeah, man, let's see how this plays out. I think that's really it for free agency, and I think we can move on now to wrestling if you're down.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else really. Falcons NFC champions. Let's go. But
But yeah, man. So let's move on, and we got Monday Night Raw, we got Smackdown Live, and that's it for this week with wrestling. We got a clearer look at how WrestleMania is shaping up to be, so we could talk about that. But let's jump right into Monday Night Raw.
let's
We
do it.
opened up the show, and we had Jericho. Jericho came back, and he claimed that Chicago was the birth of Y2J, and they're about to witness the resurrection.
I like that. I
And
like that.
yeah, and he was basically like, he had one question. He wanted to talk to Kevin Owens, and he wanted to know, why did Kevin Owens turn on him?
Yeah,
Why?
he had like a moment of not vulnerability, but like he was really honest in that moment. Like he was like, we were best friends, and he knows
Yeah.
he made a mistake trusting him, but he was
And
really like, go ahead.
he also said that, like, this year being back, Kevin Owens made it worthwhile. Like, them being friends, the friendship that he thought they built made it all the worthwhile to be back this year.
Yeah.
And like, he helped him get through the year type. So why did you turn on me? Why'd you, like,
Yeah, he wanted closure, and that was like a
Yeah.
really and for all my relationship people out there, if y'all know what it's like to want closure, that's one of the most vulnerable positions you could put yourself in. So Jericho was just bearing it all out there. So
And my man Kevin Owens came out, and he fucking played it off so nicely. He was like, Chris, we were never friends.
yeah,
We were never friends. My friend was Sami Zayn, and I destroyed him to get what I wanted. I turned my back on him. What makes you think that you were my friend? And I
yeah,
was like, yo, KO, like, this is what I want to see from you, boy. Like, you got that meat streak now that you don't got the fucking belt.
yeah.
It's crazy.
See, for me, I liked Jericho's part of it because I enjoyed Jericho on the mic. He was like, he's like babyface now, but he wasn't like he wasn't like it wasn't like the babyface Jericho that came back originally. That it was just like, oh, corny stuff. It was like he was still
Yeah.
playing into everything that he was as a heel, but now the crowd loves him, and he wasn't trying to be too babyface.
Yeah.
He was still that kind of multi-dimensional aspect to him is still there, which is good. I think those are the best characters, the multi-dimensional ones, because they're more realistic. And so I love that about Jericho's part. And then, like you said, Owens has this mean streak. And it actually, more than anything, this made me excited to think about the fact that Owens and Samoa Joe are kind of friends. So what does
Yeah.
this say about their future way down the line? Not now,
Yeah.
but I can see
Yeah.
Owens getting his title back. I think Owens will have a championship title run, but it's difficult because if he wins the U.S. title, then it's like, huh. But I would say Owens will have a championship title run before Joe does, in my mind. Owens might have
Yeah.
another one before Joe does. So what if Owens has a championship, or what if Joe actually beats him to the next championship run,
Oh,
and then Owens turns on him, or
we have the X Factor.
I know he can say
Finn Balor.
Exactly. So let's say
If Finn Balor
this is the
somehow
way I would
associated
think
with
about it.
them.
I'm gonna put it all out right here. When I think about KO, Balor, and Joe in a stable, and let's call it Revolution. Shout out to your man from the Corner Podcast.
Yeah.
And Finn Balor to me is like reminiscent of Orton, the young guy. Well,
Yeah.
they all have age to them, but I believe Balor is Balor the youngest in the group.
He
At the
would be,
very
yeah.
least, he looks the
Him
youngest.
and Owens are pretty young.
Okay, and then
Early
between
30s.
Joe and Owens, you could battle between Triple H, Batista, but Joe is more that like animal type, whereas Owens is more that calculated Triple H type. If you had to like
Yeah.
match him up with the past Evolution members,
Of course.
so then I can see a situation where Balor wins the Universal title in that like Randy Orton type role, and then they turn on him, and Owens turns on Balor and takes the title off him, and then eventually down the line, Owens don't got no friends, so Joe, turns on him, or Joe wins the Rumble. They could almost rehash the entire storyline. That was one of my favorite storylines of all time. I feel like
Evolution.
that whole build was amazing,
and it was like, I don't know how long the build was of the crew, but to me, it felt like it was a whole year, 2 years type situation going on there with them,
Yeah, I remember it was Orton who won the title at SummerSlam to become the youngest ever.
Yeah.
And they turned on him right there, did they not? Or was it the night after?
The night after.
Night after, okay. So
they did a celebration, and Batista had him up on his shoulders,
and then
Triple H
did the thumbs
like
down.
that, and then Triple H did the thumbs down, and Batista dropped him.
Yo, and then when it all came full circle at the contract signing, where Ric Flair and Triple H were like thumbs up in the Smackdown contract, and then and then
Batista was like, no.
That became his shit.
Oh
man, bro, that was excellent.
Great. But all in all,
that was one of my favorite years in wrestling.
Word. But all in all, with the opening segment, Jericho's like, we could face each other at WrestleMania for my belt. And Owens was like, that sounds good to me. He was like, but we don't have to wait till Mania to fight. We can fight now. And Owens was like, yeah, let's go. And starts going to the ring.
See,
they
this
start
is what
to get
I
it
fucking love. Because Owens, who, they got you backing down. And now, like, finally, it was like, you know what? Let's fucking do it. I ain't scared of you.
I don't give no fucks right now. I lost everything. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right? But the weird thing, like you said, now there's something building. Samoa Joe interferes and starts jumping Jericho with Owens.
Who knows if that was the reason Owens even agreed to go to the ring? Maybe he knew he had that up his sleeve. But yeah,
who knows?
They start jumping Jericho, and then what happens? Who comes out?
Sami Zayn comes out for the save with a chair and starts smashing him with the chair.
Yo, bro, I gotta say, the chair, it's the ultimate, like they always call it, the equalizer. It's legitimately that. Like, if someone comes out with a chair, it becomes super believable that whoever has the chair comes out on top, kind of thing.
But then he drops the chair because Owens and Joe starts jumping him.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like, damn, wait, he came out with the chair and then he's not even gonna even let it. And then Jericho gets back up and picks the chair up and starts going at them with the chair again. And then was it Steph or was it Foley who came out and made the match? Foley.
I believe it was Foley. Yeah.
Foley came out and he was like, you know what? There's gonna be, you guys are each gonna have a match tonight. Owens and Sami Zayn, your match starts now.
Yeah, and before we even move on, that, like I was saying about the chair, like it's always the person on the bad end of the chair, if it's 2-on-2 in this situation, like Joe and Owens don't look bad because they're getting hit with a chair. Like it's understandable. Boom. Like otherwise, if it was just them fighting, I would be like, yo, Joe and Owens should come out on top in a battle with Zayn and Jericho. But because of the chair, it's like, cool. Like, this is booked well. So I'm like, cool. And before we even move on, I gotta say, strong start, as usual. I loved Raw this week. I don't say it often. To me, I loved Raw this week. They hit on almost every segment, which means I feel like this might be a long show because we're gonna have to touch on multiple segments.
I mean,
But
I don't think so. Like, it's not.
oh, okay, you don't want it to be long. I mean, do you think? Nah, but let's move on to the Owens match. Owens Sami
Owens
Zayn.
and Sami Zayn, you know what to expect from this match. It was a dope match. They fucking have their best matches when they face each other.
Agreed, and we know what to expect. We know to expect a good match, but this was kind of different, I thought, from their usual matches, and it was Owens looking dominant again.
Yeah, that's the point I was gonna get to is that Owens now, like I said, has that mean streak and he looked freaking dominant and literally cleanly just finished Sami Zayn with his with two pop up
Which
bombs.
I think is the right move, and it's great booking. You know, have him look strong. I like when these matches end clean. A lot of times I feel like Raw is scared to pull the trigger on like having clean finishes because they think it's gonna like, you know, kill someone's momentum. Like in the case of like certain guys, like you'll never see Reigns lose clean, or you know they don't want
Yeah,
certain guys losing clean. But sometimes like it's okay to have people lose clean. You know, like especially if you're building someone like Owens who has just been brutal. You know, so for the
right.
right reasons, it's okay to have clean finishes, and this was one of those times where I could have saw them, you know, shying away from having, you know, a clean finish. But even as we saw with with the Joe Jericho later in the night, that was also a clean finish, and I thought that was big time because they could have easily
Mm-hmm.
found a way to not have a clean finish there. So I thought
Yeah,
Raw was excellently booked. I thought this match was excellently booked. Shout outs to Raw for that.
definitely. We appreciate it. But
Yeah.
moving on, we get Neville defending his belt against Rich Swann because Rich Swann never got his rematch, and they said that I guess he had gotten hurt, so that's why he
Yeah.
wasn't around for a
Mm,
couple weeks. But it's
man.
not about the match that was the best part of this segment. It was what happened after the match.
You're severely underrating the match then. Because yes, after the match was awesome, but the fucking match itself was just as great in my opinion. And
I mean,
that was coming off the night before where I said match of the night for Fastlane might have been the cruiserweights. Because I loved it that
maybe
much.
I just tuned out a little bit because I know the match was
No, I
good.
can understand tuning out to the cruiserweights. I do it all the time. I'm pretty sure I did it later in the night, but for this match, bruh, this match was amazing to me.
I
Swan
mean, I
looked
know the match was
great,
good, and their match at Roadblock was fucking dope. Like one of the best matches of the night. So I know that they can have an awesome match.
bro. They put on,
But I really like snapped back into it when the match was over. Like,
of
oh
course,
shit,
and
what's
that's
about to happen?
understandable. But the match was fucking awesome, and
So speak
I didn't
about it.
want to, Man, the super kick Swan was hitting like, yo, like
Okay.
there was so many false finishes. It was like, how is Swan gonna gonna lose this match? Like, it
Yeah.
was crazy. There was so many false
Damn.
finishes. I thought it
You
was
making me
great.
feel like I really didn't pay attention to this
Bro,
match at all.
watch this match. You gotta watch the. I don't know if you even caught up on the cruiserweight match from Fastlane, but you gotta
Nah.
watch both of those, bro. Those were great, and then Neville finished him with a submission, which is always like that's a good way. I think a submission is a really good way to beat someone because
Yeah, I
like it
saw
kills
that.
momentum, and it's like even when you're getting beat up the whole match, it's it's believable that if you were able to lock in your submission, you're you can turn the match around in a second, and that's how Neville won. Yeah, I just thought it was a great match. But talk about what happened after the match was just
After
as
the
big.
match, Austin Aries came down to have a word with Neville, and he asked Neville a few questions, and Neville basically basically was like all his doubters need to take a look at him now, and basically was like, I'm the fucking king. I don't give a fuck about what anything you motherfuckers say. And basically was like, nobody in 205 Live is on his level. And then Aries was gonna say something, and then Neville told Aries, I forgot what happened, but Neville got angry at him. It was like, go back to the announcers table, make your little jokes over there before I re-break your freaking eye
Orbital
socket.
socket.
Yeah. And Aries was like, all right. I just have one like final question. It's not really a question. It's more of a statement. And boom, rocks him with the fucking
Microphone.
microphone and gets fired up and takes his shirt off, and Neville starts like
And gets
retreating.
on the turnbuckle and looks like he was
Gets on
gonna
the
jump off
turnbuckle
the
like if he was
turnbuckle
gonna
to the
jump.
outside of the
Yup.
ring. But
Gets real
Neville,
fired up. Neville actually left his belt,
yeah,
and he grabbed the belt, and I think he was gonna raise it like he was about to be the champ, but he threw it there. He was like, "Come on, come get your belt.
yeah.
Come get your belt." Like trying to like antagonize him to come back in the ring.
He did raise it
Fucking
momentarily right before he did it, but yeah, it was
yeah,
dope. I love Austin Aries. I
yeah,
thought he might have did something at Fastlane, and
yeah.
I actually posted a picture of Aries the night of Fastlane, and I captioned it because he was talking about his package all Fastlane. So I posted a picture for that. I said the WWE universe can't get enough of Austin Aries' package, and then I said shout out to the greatest man that ever lived, and I said chances he makes a statement in his hometown tonight? Question mark. Those are my exact words. Chances he makes a statement, and then the very next night,
That's
what does he
crazy.
do? He makes a statement.
And that's what it was too. Like they were in his hometown, so we thought, hey, why not? But it
Exactly.
actually happened the next night and in Chicago. Another thing I want to say, I was like, I'm surprised they were in Milwaukee. I would think they would be in like a main city like Chicago. And I was like, well, they always try to hijack the show. Next night they're in
Oh
Chicago. I
my
had no
god.
freaking clue they were gonna be in
That's
Chicago.
crazy. But I mean, there were times during the night where we heard those CM Punk chants loud and clear. Like so,
Yeah.
I think Chicago's worse than New York. I'm gonna just say it.
Oh, they definitely are.
I mean, better in terms of noise but they really be going crazy with that CM
Bro,
Punk shit
they did.
sometimes.
They try to shit on Stephanie and that whole women's segment.
Man,
Not to
let's
jump too far
yeah, don't
ahead.
jump too far. We're gonna get to that because I love Stephanie, but let's keep
Yeah.
it where we are.
But moving on, we got our Goldberg segment where Goldberg came out to the ring,
And
and
this is where we heard those CM Punk chants too.
yep, this is where it started. And then, but Paul Heyman came out and interrupted him,
Yeah,
and then we really heard the CM Punk chants even louder.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, they did kind of do Heyman's intro along with him a little bit,
yeah, but
but
Goldberg was talking about how basically he was like he said something about the title. Oh yeah, he was like that. The title, winning the title isn't just for him. Like the title belongs to the WWE universe, and he could have not done it without them and shit. And then Paul Heyman
boo.
yeah, and then Paul Heyman comes down. And was like, look, said he didn't come to the arena and introduce just to introduce Brock Lesnar or some shit like that, and then Brock Lesnar circles the ring or some shit. Well, Brock Lesnar ended up being there. Let's just say that. And fucking Brock comes in the ring and did they even talk?
they didn't they stand face to face and he was kind of laughing at him. Yeah. Here's what
Oh yeah,
happened. I
because
remember.
Brock went to shake his hand. Remember, and
Yeah.
Goldberg
Him
was
was
like,
just
"I'm
kind of
not shaking your
laughing,
hand."
and then Heyman, I believe, said he was his bitch or something like that. Something that caught
Mm-hmm.
Goldberg's attention, and for a second, I guess he turned, and Brock
And
struck right there, which was
yep,
beautifully booked there too, because it was similar to how we talked about their match at SummerSlam, where Goldberg beats Brock Lesnar because what did Brock Lesnar do? He turned his back on Goldberg for that split second, where when he got up after
yeah,
being pushed, he turned his back on him, and that's all it took. So I like that. All it took in this situation was Goldberg to look away for a second because Heyman distracted him, and then Brock Lesnar strikes right there. So I like that.
yeah.
The thing I didn't like about this segment was when Goldberg was on Brock Lesnar's shoulders. And he was like holding the belt like mad stiff. He
He
was
didn't
just
know
mad
what to do
stiff
with
and
it.
awkward. Like
Yeah,
he was just, and Lesnar likes to hold you there. Lesnar likes to hold you there, so it was like so comedic that Lesnar was holding him for like 5 seconds, and Goldberg wasn't fighting it, nothing. He was just there like mad stiff with the title
yeah.
hanging. It looked
And
so
and
weird.
then I mentioned to you after the damn F5. Goldberg's like slowly getting up and he was sweating bullets.
So
And I'm
much.
like, bro, this guy is sweating and all he did was take a fucking F5.
Yeah.
Like this guy there's no way this guy could have a full match. Like there's no way. The way he was sweating was like if he just fucking worked a fucking Iron Man match.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and we got some comments over that. You know, who would win in a who could sweat more contest. We had in the
Yeah,
comments. Shout out to Nash.831. She was having that little funny conversation with us.
yeah. She said it would be between Goldberg and Big E.
And I had to insert Shane McMahon into that
Yep,
conversation. But yeah, he was just sweating bullets. One bump and
crazy,
like, come on, man. This Mania match is yikes.
doomed.
Yikes.
I mean, maybe it'll be just as fast as what we saw on Monday Night Raw. So
That's true.
who knows?
But moving on. What we got next?
World Tag Team Championship match. Gallows and Anderson defending their belts against Enzo and Cass. This match was nothing like their Fastlane match.
The trouble I'm having remembering this tag team match is the fact that they had the Fastlane match just the night before. So I'm like, I don't want to like be confusing it in my head. So that's the trouble I'm having remembering this one. If I'm not mistaken, though, Cesaro and Sheamus got involved.
Yeah, they got involved. So, like, it was a quick match. There was a lot of commercial breaks between this match, and I think there was like one or two, if I'm not mistaken. But it didn't live up to the previous match that they had on Fastlane, and then Cesaro and Sheamus got involved in it. So it was a pointless match anyway. No, Gallows and Anderson retained, but it did lead to a WrestleMania match that was set up afterwards.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna say, I don't remember disliking this segment. So
Yeah.
I would say it served its purpose.
Exactly, yeah. But all in all, like after that, they were backstage, and Sheamus and Cesaro and Enzo and Cass were arguing with each other, and Foley got in the middle, and he was like, "Look, we're just gonna have a match for next week, and whoever wins faces, the club at
Mania.
Mania." And then Stephanie ends up strolling up next to him like, oh hey, and we hadn't seen her all night, so that was interesting. Plus, we didn't see her at Fastlane,
Mm-hmm. Her, her,
so
her flight finally came in.
yeah, right.
But what
Mm.
did she say to Mick? Did she say anything?
I think she said she wanted to speak to him in the office. That's.
Okay.
I think that's about it.
Okay, so she set up. Okay,
Yeah,
she set up what I thought would be his firing. Is what I thought.
yeah. But then moving on, we got the other 205 live match, which was Cesaro versus Davari, which was actually one of the. It was a really short match, but I actually paid attention to this cruiserweight match out of the both matches.
Yeah, no,
But
this is the one I didn't pay attention to.
it was mad quick. Like Davari tried to take control early, and then Tozawa came back with a suicide dive outside the ring, threw him back in the ring, and hit him with the German
Suplex.
suplex and
Yep, I
called it
saw
a
that.
wrap.
Yep.
Then Tozawa grabbed the mic, which his English was better than I thought it would
Yeah.
be. And he was calling Brian Kendrick out to come fight him face to face, and Kendrick showed up at the ramp and was like, that he'll answer his challenge tomorrow, basically talking about
205 Live.
205 Live, and walked off.
Yeah.
That was the basis of it. And then moving on, we get New Day, who came to the ring with their ice cream carts. I think they were there to face the Shining Stars, if I'm
I
not
don't
mistaken.
remember.
Yeah, it was good mic work by these guys, as always, just basically saying this can be reality, this ice cream.
Yeah.
It's up to the WWE universe. You guys got to make this happen. And Big E was damn near fucking making love to the fucking ice cream.
Okay, so this was
Cycle.
this was what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember if maybe I was thinking of Fastlane again, but yeah, he was getting up in that ice cream.
Yeah, he was like literally licking it and humping it and
Yeah.
gyrating his hips all over that shit.
Yeah, one thing I liked about this segment, I wasn't like super locked in. It wasn't like a great segment, but one thing I always applaud the shows for is when they have a segment that's kind of like a kind of meaningless kind of segment, and they keep it short. Like they don't try to like drag it, and that's one thing I could say about even the lower point segments of this Raw. I thought they got out of the way fairly quickly.
And the whole point was for them to basically encourage the WWE universe to make, you know, this ice cream a reality.
Yeah.
And then the match was quick as hell. Like, I don't even remember what the hell happened in the match. I just remember Big E finished, I'm guessing Primo,
Yeah, yeah.
and pinned him and literally humped him on the fucking floor.
Yeah, Biggie began
That was
crazy, bro.
I would have. Yo, if I was any other wrestler, I don't care how much muscles this motherfucker got. I probably would have smacked this motherfucker
Nah.
on for real. Like, yo, don't be pinning me like that, bro. Like, be a mad suspect, bro. I'm really
Biggie is
starting to question
crazy.
whether Biggie likes men or women. I mean, it's
Nah,
not no
come on, get out of
big
there.
deal.
No,
It's
no,
not no
it don't
big
matter
deal.
either way. But I just think he's playing into his character. You know, he be
Yeah,
getting
I
into
hope.
it.
It's not really that big a deal. And plus, he was on Total Divas. He went on a date with Natty's sister, so
Did
I
he?
know that.
How does Natty's
Yeah,
sister look?
Natty's sister like was
Tell me
upset.
about her.
Natty's sisters are kind of a weirdo, but she was obsessed over Big E,
Natty's
like, and,
sister
like
should come to the No Politics
all over his
podcast.
muscles and shit.
Nah, that's crazy. I didn't know that. But yeah, no, I just be feeling like he be getting into his character. He be getting into his character crazy sometimes, like OD, like licking ice cream and shit. Like he be wilding, but you know, Biggie just
And then,
being entertaining, I guess.
if you want to move on,
Yeah, yeah, we can move on. I'm ready.
yeah, that was a short freaking match. So at this point, yeah, we're basically flying through everything. There's probably like two more matches and like two segments left.
Perfect. So let's keep it moving.
So we get Bailey in the ring with Mick Foley, which was, like we referred to earlier, is one of the biggest hijacks of the whole show.
Yeah.
With that Chicago crowd going crazy chanting CM Punk's name. But Bailey was basically saying that she doesn't feel like a champion because Sasha interrupted her. Sasha came to the ring and was like, Bailey, you are the champion. You won it fair and square. You know, Charlotte would have did it anyway. She would have screwed you anyway.
Yep.
Don't feel bad. And at that point, Charlotte comes to the ring with Dana Brooke and it's like, I'm the champion. I should have won. I freaking did the right thing. I sent Dana back. Blah, blah. And, you know, my streak's broken because of, like, I got robbed, basically. I got robbed of a win.
Yeah.
Stephanie comes out to the
CM
ring.
Punk. Continue.
And the CM Punk chants come. And Stephanie McMahon, always the greatest with the comebacks. So quick on her feet. Oh my God, how great is she? She goes, it seems like all these fans and CM Punk have something in common. You guys are losers. Yo, it was so funny.
Bro, I love when she does that. Like she's like so great on the mic to me, and she handles the crowd so well. What I was actually surprised with was that once she kind of got into what she was saying, they started again, and she was kind of trying to battle them instead of just, you know what I'm saying? She was trying to speak over them, and it's like, don't do that.
And she was basically, because you can't just give in to them. You have to get your point across with what this segment's about. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
She basically talked over them, got down to the nitty gritty, and was like, "Listen, Charlotte is not battling nobody for no number one contender. She's going to Mania to face the champ."
Yeah.
Now, the match that is going to happen tonight, Bailey versus Sasha. Bailey, you win, it's a one-on-one match. Sasha, you win, it's a triple threat.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I'm down for it. And she was like, and that match starts now.
Yeah.
Which was another dope part of that segment.
You going to give me my credit for kind of predicting this?
You definitely did predict that, yeah.
That's it? That's all you got for me?
I give you your props, bro. You definitely did.
Yeah, I thought it would be smart on Stephanie's behalf if she really wanted to stick it to them to put Sasha and Bailey against each other, and that's what she did. And it was a decent match, a solid match.
Also, we can't forget, I almost completely skipped over. When Sasha came out, she was standing at the top of the ramp and she started her whole spiel, segment, whatever the hell you want to call it, promo on the mic, and she sounded like she was about to go into like full on heel mode.
Yeah.
And like she was gonna be like, yeah, you shouldn't feel like a champion because I did help you. Like, and you know, like I really thought she was gonna do that, but she was like, no, like,
and then
we always wanted to face each other and tear it up at Mania.
Yeah.
Why not?
But it's
You know, type.
interesting because in the same way I talk about it on SmackDown with Mickey James and Alexa Bliss, which we got to get to that segment too on SmackDown because it's kind of similar. But like you befriend the champion, and that's a way to get it, to get your way self into the title picture.
Yeah.
And if we even if we were to talk about her demeanor during the match, Sasha Banks was very like, Bailey's like super like innocent kind of, and
Yeah.
Sasha Banks is very like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Do to get this opportunity. Yeah,
Exactly.
like
She was being
so
tough with her.
basically we could get into it. We could get into the match. The whole match, Sasha had that demeanor, like you said, like I'm gonna, as much as we're friends, I'm gonna put it all on the line just to get my opportunity to face you at Mania
Yeah.
and get another shot at the belt, which was dope. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. I compared them to Goten and Trunks. Shout out to the DBZ fans out there.
Word.
Because Goten is like Bailey, super innocent, the best friends with Trunks, but Trunks got that fire in him, and that's what I saw with Sasha. Like, I'm a whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna do it. I'm super competitive, so. And how did that match finish?
Sasha
She had her.
locked in the bank statement.
Yes, and then
And
Charlotte comes down to ringside.
Charlotte came down to. She tried to jump in the ring.
No,
and
Dana
help.
Brooke tried to, and distracted the ref.
Yeah.
And then
Wait a minute, because at one point Charlotte went to get Bailey's hand on the rope so that she could just face Bailey 1-on-1.
Yeah.
And what's her name kicked
Kicks
her
off
in the
of her.
face and rolled over and kept the bank statement. That was a nice little finish. I like that.
it.
And then all in all, Bailey ends up tapping.
Yep.
I wasn't mad at it, but the whole thing is like you were telling me like your whole point of it was every time there's a champion on Raw, they always lose on Raw and they look weak in non-title matches all the time. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's really weird. This finish I wasn't too mad at because Banks pushed off a Charlotte, which was a nice little touch, and Bailey couldn't get to the ropes, and so it's like I get it, Bailey tapping to that, she would have reached the ropes otherwise, but it's anytime there's a champion, they seem like they just lose all the non-title matches. And it's rare that we see dominant champions, and I compared it to NXT, which is like the opposite. NXT champions always seem so strong. Authors of Pain are undefeated still, The Revival, even as heels, even though they lost the titles, like they were strong for a while. Like there's no argument that the Revival are one of the best tag teams right now, on NXT or the main roster.
Definitely.
So I just think NXT does such a brilliant job at booking champions. Meanwhile, on Raw, we're seeing, and even on SmackDown, we see it. But a champion gets their title and they look weak in non-title matches. So
the one thing for me is that we all had heard the rumors, Fatal 4 match, Nia Jax. Where does this put Nia?
Well,
Nia lost in Fastlane. And then she's not involved in this segment at all.
I like that she's not involved in this segment, though, because it's almost like keep her out of it completely. And then, so that it's not too much. You didn't want to see it all last night. Or not last night, but Monday. We didn't want to see it all. Like, don't throw them all in and make it like a big clusterfuck. Especially imagine the way the crowd was. Like, don't do too much. But now bring Nia into it and be like, why wasn't I involved at all last week? You know what I'm saying? So, and then you work on that piece. There's still weeks until WrestleMania, so you could slowly... And then I'm sure she'll get a similar opportunity. Like, she could be like, I've pinned Bailey. I've pinned the champion. You know? So, and then, so if you beat whoever, maybe you can get in,
Or maybe she makes a statement herself and, like, comes at Charlotte and, like, destroys Charlotte.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, look, you think Charlotte's your little golden girl, golden egg that you're just going to throw her in the championship match at Mania. She didn't even have to qualify for it.
Yeah.
I just fucking destroyed her.
I'm not like most girls.
What do you got for me? What do you got for me,
Yeah. So,
But I like how you reference that. Not like most girls, like a song says.
but yeah. So, I thought good segment. Keep it moving.
Yeah, not bad at all. We get a package about Seth Rollins and his rehab, and then we get a satellite interview with Triple H, which was fucking dope. I fucking love this segment with Triple H.
Talk about it.
He didn't even have to be there, and it was fucking awesome. He basically was like, saying how Triple H, how Seth Rollins would be a fool to even try to rush back and come to Mania to fight him or get his revenge on him and disobey the medical staff. He was like, this guy he's a liar. He was always a liar, referring to himself as the man. I gave him that name to like basically gas his head up. He was never the man. He tried so hard to be the man. And he was like basically if you show up against the doctor's orders, it'll be the last thing you ever do in a WWE ring.
Yeah,
And it was just like that.
I love, and I spoke on it when Joe had his interview with Michael Cole a few weeks ago. Like, there's no way that other wrestlers, other superstars, can even complain that they can't get over when we see people have these interviews, these one-on-one segments, and they get themselves over so well. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that Triple
Yeah.
H needs to get himself over, but they kill it on the mic. Joe killed it on the mic, a few weeks ago when he had his interview with Cole. So when you get this interview, like a lot of times these are like weird, like the superstar will bomb on these things, and it's just like, I'm
Yeah.
still not excited. But Joe killed it. Triple H killed it. Like, obviously, Joe and Triple H are like veterans,
Rollins and
but at
Corey
the same
Graves.
time, it's like these are opportunities. Like, you need to take advantage of these. Triple H killed this segment, and so that's all
Yeah.
I got to say about that.
It just leads into more hype, like what the hell's gonna happen.
And
I
Mania,
like how we really don't know what's Seth Rollins' status. I mean, we all pretty much assume
he's going
he'll
to be
be
at
there.
Mania, but in what, in what
Capacity,
degree,
yeah.
what capacity exactly?
But yeah, let's move on. And the last match of the night, but not the last segment of the night, was Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho. And this was another one of those fucking dope matches that Raw is starting to put together. Since Joe has came onto that roster, it seems like they can mix things up just a slight little bit more than what they were doing before he was there,
Yeah,
which we had big complaints about.
because it was the
And
same. It was the same. Strowman, Reigns, Jericho, Owens, Zayn,
bullshit.
and I don't remember who the sixth person, Rollins thing was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And now we got Joe versus Jericho, and this match was fucking dope. I know, like, the one thing I kept saying is, like, this is a fucking fantasy dream match. Like, you know how many people fucking fantasy book this? Like, yo, imagine Chris Jericho versus Samoa Joe, if that could ever happen. And at one point it looked like it would never happen. And it fucking happened on Monday, and it was such a great match, man. I just really loved every freaking part of it.
I thought it was more a great moment than a match. Like they didn't
Great
have
moment.
like they didn't have like a full length type match either. It wasn't
Yeah.
like let's show out. But it was a relatively short match, but it was enjoyable. I really liked the finish, and
Yeah.
I so yeah, to me a great moment more than anything.
And let's talk about that finish because technically it finished on the outside of the ring while Joe was out there. Jericho tried to hit him with like one of those baseball like slide drop kick
Mm,
joints, and Joe like moved out of the way and like grabbed him up and got that Coquita clutch.
mm.
Fucking locked it in on the fucking
Outside
outside of the ring and literally put him
in
to
his sleep.
sleep before the count. Rolled in the ring and got the count out. The
Yeah,
10 count.
awesome. And
And,
like I was saying, not to cut you off, but just a real quick thought. Submissions, man. Like submissions, like if you could finish people with submissions, like it looks okay, like no matter what. It's like,
yeah.
okay, cool. Like I get that. submissions are like the realest thing. Like
Honestly, that's what made me fall in love with fucking Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit at the time when I first saw them. Was me watching them have
vicious.
submission matches and
Yeah.
shit. Like they were the only two guys I didn't know that Bret Hart had the fucking sharpshooter and all that. Like I was young when Bret Hart was popping. For me, they were like the first two guys that I saw. Like, wait a minute, they don't just like power bomb you and pin you. Like they freaking make you tap out. What? Like I never even like heard of that. And then Jericho was another one with the Walls of Jericho.
Yep.
So I fucking love submissions as well. So I second what you're saying. But that wasn't the end, because then Joe tried to attack Jericho more and threw him in the ring, and then Jericho actually ended up hitting him with the code breaker.
Yep, you're right.
And laid him out. So Jericho didn't look completely
too weak. Yeah.
Weak.
That was
got
another
his
thing.
payback.
That was another thing where I was like, man, that was booked. That was booked nicely too. I really liked the booking there.
Yeah. So that was fucking dope. And yeah, man, what do we got? 3 weeks till Mania?
Yep, 3 now. 3 Raws and then Mania.
Yep.
And can we before we even get to the last segment, Hall of Fame? We've been neglecting this.
Oh
and it
yeah,
just popped
we've
into
been
my
forgetting.
head.
Yeah.
So
Hall of Fame. Shout out to Kurt Angle, as we did like a couple weeks ago. We shouted Kurt Angle, the Rock and Roll Express, and I think what made me do the shout out was the fact that we talked about DDP getting inducted. But since then, more people have been announced. Teddy Long was announced. Holla, 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 player.
Yeah.
The Ravishing Rick Rude,
yep.
which he should have been in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand how it's took this long. And the one thing I asked you when we did talk about it, I think this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
No, 3 weeks ago.
It was like 3 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago. No. 3 episodes ago, like 2 weeks ago. Something like that.
Yeah. And the one thing I did ask you was like, what female you think would be in it? And you was like, China.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, it's not happening no time soon. But we still couldn't think of who it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Beth Phoenix is the woman wrestler who's going to be inducted this year into the Hall of Fame.
Similarly dominant to China, though.
So similar to China. Like,
yeah.
Her career damn near parallels it, besides the fact that she wasn't in the Attitude Era and she wasn't part of the Generation
But
X.
in the Rumble.
But in the Rumble.
Khali, they showed that.
Exactly. And, I like Beth Phoenix. I think she's up there as one of the best. Hall of Fame worthy. She's Hall of Fame worthy, but I feel like it's too soon. Exactly.
Yeah.
And, she was dominant as hell. She's strong just like China. But, China definitely needs to be in there. I just know that it's a sensitive spot.
It would have been sensitive. Yeah, no, I can agree with
and
that.
especially she just literally passed away, so they probably would get so much heat. Like, you throw her in when she's dead,
exactly.
but when she was alive, you never wanted to give her no recognition.
Exactly.
So I could understand if that thought had crossed anybody's mind in the WWE. But all in all, I'm not mad Beth Phoenix is in. And the interesting thing is, I forgot which show mentioned it. Maybe it might have been JBL on Smackdown. But Beth Phoenix getting into the Hall of Fame now makes her and Edge the first Hall of Fame couple.
That's awesome. And I was thinking of Edge like once you brought up Beth Phoenix because I love Edge. But that's dope. The first Hall of Fame couple. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if Edge stayed with Lita, they would have been the first Hall of Fame couple. Even more recent, but yeah, no, that's awesome,
shit, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's cool.
Yep, definitely didn't want to forget that this week.
Yeah, man. So you ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right. So last segment of Monday Night Raw, we got Braun Strowman coming to the ring to call out Roman Reigns and fight him 1-on-1. And Roman's music hits for like real quick like that. Bam.
Yeah.
And then it just goes dark.
And then whose
music hits?
And it goes gong.
And Undertaker's music hits, and we're all like, "Oh shit! Yeah. It's really about to happen." Like for me, it's always great to see Undertaker.
Yeah.
But
so it's great to see a dead person like alive.
Right. But if anybody who's been listening to this podcast is aware of my feelings going forward towards WrestleMania with Undertaker, I did not want to see him facing Roman Reigns. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's not like that's the worst match they could have. But I just literally felt Roman and Strowman needed to have another match and go on to Mania. Like, you can't just do a one and done.
With
And they had a good
how
match, in
brutal
my
their feud
opinion.
was too. Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So, all in all, though, Taker walks into the ring. And then not only did Strowman get pinned clean the night before, but Strowman literally looked like he was shitting his pants and backed out. Backed out of the ring and literally walked through the crowd to nowhere. Like,
To
gone. I
nowhere.
don't give. I'm going to my
To
car.
irrelevancy
I'm
is
going
where
to
he
the next
walked.
state, and I'll see you next week. That's what Strowman said. It was fucking ridiculous.
I was so excited for that moment, just to think like, oh man, WWE is gonna do something different. And I know we've all heard the Reigns Undertaker rumors, and the Royal Rumble made it even more realistic with Reigns eliminating Taker. But I was
Yeah,
just like, for this brief moment when it was him approaching Strowman, I was just like, man, this is
I felt the same
this
way.
could be awesome. And I actually posted. Let's get into some of these comments. I actually posted a picture of Taker, and I said, if this is going where I hope it's going, then I'm supremely happy for Braun to have this opportunity at Mania. And then I said, but let's see because they'll find a way to ruin it. Didn't
Hmm.
take long.
Literally, like right after you posted
I put update. LOL.
it.
JK. This don't got shit to do with Strowman. And
But
people commented, is someone 31 underscore Diego NYC said, is life okay? No, it's not. Undertaker versus Roman? No, no, no. I quit with Raw. No. WrestleMania is ruined.
damn, man.
We got
Yeah.
we got some we got the underscore Perkis system. I laughed when I read the caption. Here we are thinking WWE actually got something right, and then there's WWE saying, hold my beer and gives us Reigns. Sad part is I totally should have seen it coming but didn't. Michael D0113 says seen it coming a mile away, which I told him I saw it coming too, but I suspended my
Yeah.
belief in that moment just because I
Me
thought,
too. Me too. And yeah, Reigns comes out to the ring and he was wearing boots, which I was kind of disappointed. I like
yeah, because
the
we
whole
talked about
sneaker
his
thing.
sneakers, yeah,
Yeah, I
from
like the whole
Fastlane.
sneaker thing from Fastlane, but I guess he didn't have no black and red sneakers
Yeah.
to go with his whole vest situation going on in his
Yep.
gimmick. But he comes to the ring and he goes, you know, Strowman called me out. Like, what are you doing? He was like, why'd you come out? He was like, with all due respect, this is my yard now.
Yep.
And Taker didn't say shit. They looked at each other. They looked at the WrestleMania sign for a moment, and Taker just fucking grabbed him by the throat and choke slammed the shit out of him,
Yeah.
which was a bright spot. Like I was happy. Like okay, good shit, Taker. Like hopefully Taker gets this W, but it's not looking likely.
Mm,
I'm not feeling like Taker's gonna get the W. I'm just hoping he gets the W. Basically, that's how I'm feeling.
same.
But before you give your opinion, I will say I hope the one good thing that comes out of this feud is maybe we get a heel bad guy Roman Reigns.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, like if they were trying to get Reigns heat, this would be the way to do it. They're doing it so well, like beating Strowman clean after building Strowman up so much. Like just they've been. It's almost like they're throwing Reigns at us, despite the fact they know we don't want him, and yet they're like shitting on us, shitting on us, shitting on us. Like now, if he were to beat Taker at Mania, that's like the ultimate shit on us again. And at that moment, I would think like, okay, so this is it. Like he's got so much fucking heat. Turning him heel would be the absolute only thing to do at that point.
Yeah,
So if that's what they're headed towards, then they're doing it right. But if their long term plan is to have him have this heat, be a heel, and then ultimately transition into babyface, kind of like The Rock, then I think they've just done so much damage to Reigns that like we're
Word.
never gonna want him as a face. But a heel, he could be a top fucking heel because we hate him. So
Right? Exactly. Like, I think that will be the one good thing that could eventually come out of this whole feud is that for 3 years the crowd's been wanting to turn on this guy. They have turned on this guy. They boo everything he does. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Why not finally give him the opportunity to really fucking boo him? Watch him become the biggest fucking star he could possibly become as a bad guy.
yeah, I agree. So I didn't love the segment. I didn't love that. Man, just Reigns. He just gets up too quick. I feel like don't you dare even look at Taker. Don't get up in time to look at Taker walking away. Just he just I hate when I just see him. He's already like just like grimacing a little bit, holding
Yeah.
his like
Oh yeah,
rubbing
let's not
himself,
forget
but
that.
like looking like, damn, bro, stay knocked out for a minute, like.
Yeah, like he sold the whole chokeslam thing for like 30 seconds. Like he was knocked out cold. His arms were laid out. Like literally like the movies. Like
Yeah.
you're knocked out. As soon as Taker got out the ring, it was like halfway up the fucking ramp. He looks back and Roman's already rolling over looking at him like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't put me down.
Yeah.
You can't put me down. Like this L's coming your way, Taker. Like I'm sorry. Like this is the new Superman of the WWE.
Oh, man. That's my thoughts on it.
But yeah, but like you said, strong episode by Raw this week. Definitely a strong episode. Had us all talking.
I thought it was a strong episode. I loved pretty much every segment. Any segment that was kind of like, was very short, to the
Yeah.
point. Didn't try to milk it too much. So I appreciated that. I thought,
Yep.
before we get into it, I thought Raw was better than SmackDown this week. For sure.
Hey.
And last thing before we move on, thank you to all the commenters. Another comment, one thing I want to address before we move on, I want to get this thought out there. Josh _bins 10 commented that as far as the potential new Evolution stable,
Yeah.
that they should get Charlotte and a cruiserweight, like Neville. And I like the idea of Charlotte, because, come on. Charlotte, like we've talked about, looks good with the club. Charlotte just kind of looks good with people sometimes, like other dominant kind of people.
Oh, you never know. I don't know why this just came to my head, but you do, cause you know Stephanie. That's Charlotte.
Yeah,
Stephanie's
Charlotte and
girl.
Stephanie is.
So you do Triple H and Stephanie making a stable. Maybe Triple H doesn't have to be a part of the stable. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And you do Joe, you do Owens. Finn Balor, it doesn't become a bad guy. He stays a good guy. And instead of that, you do Joe, Owens, Charlotte, and what about Austin motherfucking Aries?
See, Austin Aries would be kind of dope, but he's not even the one I thought of. When he said a cruiserweight, he said Neville, the commenter, Josh Bins 10.
Yeah.
He said Neville. And my response to him was Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne, just his like attitude and just like his viciousness, it like mirrors that Joe Owens kind of shit.
Yeah, Pete Dunne's definitely
I
a
love
guy
Pete
that could
Dunne's
fit that.
character.
But I just see them, like, they haven't officially launched the whole UK situation,
That's
so
true.
I see them holding off on
Oh
it.
yeah, no, they're definitely Pete Dunne. They're all gonna be there in NXT for a while, with the whole UK situation. If their plans to keep them on NXT, that's where they have been. So, but I just thought when I started thinking cruiserweights, I was like, man, Pete Dunne would be awesome with Evolution because he's just so brutal. And
Yeah.
so that was my first thought. But Aries would be cool too, man. Like, there's no doubt Aries would be
Yeah.
dope, and he's another veteran. So
Yep. And, us putting Balor in there, that's just us really wishful thinking and, fantasy booking because we really don't know if he's coming back heel or not.
yeah, I was
know-
was on board with him coming back heel for the Rumble to challenge Reigns
Yeah.
for his Universal title. I thought Reigns would win the Universal title at Rumble over Owens, and then I thought Balor would be a surprise entrance in the Rumble, win it, and then face Reigns at Mania for the title he never lost,
Yep.
and win it back. But And I kept thinking Balor's gonna come back as a heel. I kept saying it, with the club on Raw. But who knows if Balor's gonna come back heel? But I would prefer him to come back heel. But he doesn't
Yeah,
have to. This is just
but
like
there's still money to be made as him as a good guy. Like,
exactly,
that train was literally about to take off,
exactly.
and it
So
never got to. So
exactly. So I agree.
yeah, but yeah, all in all, man, dope show, and I guess we're gonna take a break, and then we come back and hit him with the Smackdown. Maybe I don't know. Do you want to talk Mania now? Or you want to give it one more week
Give it
before
a
we
week.
start
Give it a
talking about
week.
this card?
Give it a week.
Give it one more week. Yeah. So, like you heard it here, guys. If you stuck around this far, we appreciate you guys listening to us week by week. We're gonna continue to keep bringing the heat. We got one more segment. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Flyer than a plane with no turbulence. Round table with my confidants. All my boss ass niggas feeling confidant. And we killing this rap shit, bitch, call the ambulance. Matter of fact, call a coroner, use a foreigner. If they get that trouble, put the world on the border up. We gon' double the price of bricks, halves and quarters up. Stacking these figures, little niggas, so get your order up. One mission on the guard. Married to the money like I'm married to the mob. Broad on my arm, sipping Dom Perignon. You must pay your respects and kiss the ring on a dawn. Dead in the middle with little Italy. With the middleman who didn't know jack shit. You gotta be kidding me. To the top cause the bottom is hella crowded. Figure's not an option, fuck or forget about it. So fuck or forget about it. Figure's not an option, fuck or forget about it. Money and pussy can live without it. I just might fuck a bitch, then I'm out it.
And we're back. All right, guys, we got SmackDown Live. We're gonna talk about everything that happened throughout the night. It wasn't a lot of long segments throughout the night, but yeah, as always, we got a 2-hour show, so it's pretty quick to recap. But we started off the night. Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, they were already in the ring, and
No,
what
no,
was
no. They came out, didn't they?
Oh yeah, their music hit because I remember Daniel Bryan. He always likes to
Yeah.
get his yes chant pop
He
going.
likes to get his yes chance off.
Yeah. But yeah, basically they came to the ring, and which was kind of awkward because they spent mad time breaking down the fact that AJ Styles had so many opportunities, but usually the winner of the Royal Rumble gets the chance to headline WrestleMania, and Shane made it a point to say that he wants AJ to win and go to Mania, but he still had to get through Randy Orton, and basically the whole 20 minutes they spent having this long promo was just to announce
That the main event would be
yeah,
AJ and Orton. The
yeah,
one thing I did take from this was you just said it, that Shane said he thought AJ should have the opportunity, which is I guess their way of keeping him the face in his feud with AJ coming up at Mania. That's rumored.
yeah.
So that's what I would take from that. Otherwise, it was just, to me, I was like, yo, they just wasted damn near 15 to 20 minutes recapping this shit we already knew and announcing a match that was already announced leading into this episode, as if they just thought of it almost right then and there, or like right before they came out. Like, the match been announced. You don't have to waste 15, 20 minutes recapping the entire situation and then being like, oh, so we thought about a match. We're gonna give you Orton and Style. Like, we know already. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
Brian definitely
man.
put mad emphasis on fucking announcing
Like,
it.
it was the biggest shit.
It's
Like,
the biggest main event in SmackDown Live history. Well,
like-
SmackDown Live's only been around for like
Yeah.
3 months, buddy. So of course,
and I wouldn't even call it the biggest main event. Like, it's come on. But
yeah, it's one of them because it was their first time,
Yeah.
facing off.
that was cool. But
But automatically, you know what came to my mind? That fatal 4-way that they
yeah,
had
bro,
that one
come
time.
the fuck on.
Corbin, Styles, Ambrose, and Harper,
Yeah.
or Ziggler.
Or it was the triple threat too, like the title
Yeah.
triple threat, which was Ziggler, Corbin, Styles. Like,
Yeah.
the other main events came to my mind, to be honest. Like, but let's keep this moving. They announced it and whatever. We were like, oh no shit.
Yeah, we get a backstage segment. AJ Styles confronts them, basically like, "Oh, you guys are both trying to take me out, but you guys are both going against me, but it's all right because I'm gonna take Randy Orton out anyway tonight.
And he kind of threatened them too in the process.
Yeah.
Is what it seemed like. Almost like, I'll take you out too. Like,
Yeah. True.
so,
True. It was.
So they were hinting at
interesting.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you like to say, they were foreshadowing.
Yes. I do like to say that.
But moving on, John Cena, Nikki Bella versus James Ellsworth and Carmella, which was announced last week.
Ellsworth cut a little promo. He always cuts a little
yeah,
promo.
Ellsworth, his promo, and he called himself the Mac Daddy of SmackDown.
He said he put the Mac in SmackDown Live. Yeah, and I mean, he gets heat, obviously, but that's actually what he's supposed to do. But, like, he has some funny lines here and there. Like, I don't mind himself, calling himself Mac Daddy. Like, that shit is type funny, misannounced that Carmella was his girl again.
Yep.
So,
it was cool.
It was
and, basically, Miz and Maurice come down to the ring before the match started. They go ringside.
Like right after Cena and Nikki came out, Miz's music hit, so we didn't really expect it, but joins the commentary team.
The commentary team. And the match, I'm not gonna dwell too much on it, but it was a quick match anyway. Carmella and Ellsworth were getting squashed, and Cena and Nikki did a awkward ass 5-knuckle shuffle.
They did a whole. Cena did his FU. Nikki didn't do the FU, or the AA, but she did. I don't know, some move. She did have Carmella on her shoulders. Didn't do an AA, but did some move. I don't remember what it was, and then they finished them with the STF, and that was pretty much it. They both tapped out. And
then after the match,
Miz and Marie, when they were celebrating, when Cena and Nikki were like hugging, Maurice and Miz like kind of pulled. They were hugging like by the ropes, so like Miz and Maurice kind of yanked them out, which it looked a little dangerous. It looked like, I thought anyway, that it looked a little dangerous for a second. Like Cena could have accidentally, twisted.
Got hurt.
It looked a little dangerous, but thankfully nothing seemed to happen. But they beat him up on the outside a little, come in the ring, cut a promo. Miz had some shit to say, as usual. Not like the greatest promo, but, did his little thing. Did you have anything you want to say about this?
Well, the one thing I want to say about Miz's promo, he was like saying Cena does anything that is going to benefit his brand.
Yeah.
And Cena sees all the hype and attention that Miz is getting now that Maurice is around. And all of a sudden, Cena wants to bring Nikki Bella as his girl into the picture when for years they weren't able to even mention or see both of them together on screen. He was like, because it only makes sense. It's going to help his brand. He sees how it's benefiting me. He was like, but this is true love. Love that I don't make my woman, my wife, sign a contract to love me, which is like super low blow.
Yeah.
Blurring the lines between real and fake.
Yep.
And I fucking love that Miz has been doing that. Like, it was fucking dope, man. And basically,
Maurice grabbed the mic, and she kind of looks over towards Nikki, and she says, "Break that, bitch." And she drops the mic. That's how it ended. So I like this segment, but yeah, cool segment. One of the bright spots. Just
and
for that promo.
At that point, we are already like halfway through the show.
Yeah.
I think we went to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Renee Young was backstage, and you see Randy Orton's like dressing room door, and I don't know if she knocked on it or what, but Randy Orton comes out. Yeah, he comes out, and she interviews him about facing Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. And then he says nothing's going to stop him. And he said, I know that AJ Styles is phenomenal, but I'm just one RKO away from main event in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Styles better be afraid. And then the next segment is actually Kurt Hawkins. He came down to the ring and he was calling out Ambrose. And Ambrose comes down to the ring and again immediately hits the dirty deeds and decides to call out Baron Corbin, which was a different, interesting twist. They had Corbin pull up on the Titantron, which they haven't done that in a while. Where
They
like
did that
someone's
just
gonna
last
call
week.
out and then
They just did that
with
last week
Corbin,
with Corbin.
yeah.
That's why I didn't like it. That's why there at that moment I was like, oh, it's like the same shit as last week, but ended a little differently this time. Though.
But but yeah, they did do it last week. But I still like that they've been doing it because I feel like that's kind of like an old school thing too, you know.
Yeah.
But regardless, Corbin basically tells him, "You think I'm gonna come to the ring just because you're calling me? Nobody tells me what to do. Like I'm not that fucking much of a dumbass." And Ambrose was like, "Okay, so then I'm just gonna go to you and find you."
Yeah.
And he goes to walk out the ring, and Kurt Hawkins gets up and goes to like attack him and like turns him around and gets hit with the dirty deeds again outside the ring, and he's just left there laying
Yeah.
for dead.
I actually like that.
Yep. And throughout the whole night, there was only 3 matches because then we get another backstage segment.
That's
where
been
Mojo
pretty
Rawley,
common. Yeah, it's been pretty common that there's been about 3 matches. 4 is like tops, but for the most part, like 3 matches. But continue.
And
Mojo
for 2
Rawley.
weeks in a row, though, we didn't see the tag
No
champs,
tag
so
team. Yeah, and it
that's
was after
interesting.
Usos. Great, we thought Usos killed that promo, and now we haven't seen it. And it's
Seen
like
them, yeah.
they always get the short end. Like I understand, and we talked about it every now and then, leaving like, we didn't see Bray Wyatt, and sometimes I say like it's interesting when we don't see a champion because it reminds me of NXT how like it almost makes the champion's arrival that much more important when they do because every now and then they won't be on the show, and that's kind of cool to me. It makes it that much more like prestigious, their title and to see the champion. But like alternate it a little bit. I don't want to not see the tag champs over and over. I don't want to not see the tag feuds at all.
Yeah.
Like, maybe keep the women off for a week or some shit. Like,
And for me,
or keep the
I feel
Corbin
like-
thing off for a week. The Corbin Ambrose thing. If it was going to be such a similar rehashing of last week, minus the way it ended this week, just put it off for a week.
Maybe next week they'll go that way after what happened with Ambrose backstage.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
But keep talking about Mojo.
For me, I'm going to get to Mojo Rawley, but for me with the tag team titles, that rivalry and that was just starting to heat up, like you said, with the Usos and the promos. And then 2 weeks in a row, you don't see them? Kind of weak. But Mojo Rawley was backstage, and he announced that he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Nobody cares, but for some reason, I got a feeling that if Braun Strowman's not in this match, Mojo has a good shot at winning it. Who else would possibly win it? I don't know. Maybe Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler is the one who interrupted him and was clapping. Was like, I seen them all come and go.
Who else
Guys
is there,
like
really?
you
These
think
are
you
just
deserve a WrestleMania moment, and you don't. You'll be just another memory in a few weeks, a few months.
Yeah.
You'll be nobody type,
Yeah, and Mojo actually had a nice little comeback, but he was like, "You mean like how you've never had a WrestleMania moment?" And
Yeah.
I love Dolph in this segment though. Like I love his attitude now, bro. Like he's I fucks with it. I wouldn't know who would win this battle royal. Maybe Dolph. I could see Dolph winning if he's in it. But like, there's nobody really relevant ever in these things, So it's just like whatever, and I'm kind of just whatever. Segment. It was a segment.
Yeah.
We could keep it moving though.
We're gonna keep it moving on to another backstage segment
Oh,
because then we get the Ambrose
Out
segment
walking
where
around.
he's walking backstage looking for Corbin, and he's like, "You seen Corbin? You seen Corbin?" And like, nobody's seen Corbin, but then out of nowhere you get a camera shot, which I love this part. Corbin had a security guard hemmed up, choking him out, like behind a wall.
Yeah.
That shit was so dope. And when Ambrose passed by, he threw the
throws him.
security guard into Ambrose. Ambrose thinks someone's trying to attack him, but then it's the security. And then at the same time, Corbin does pop up with a pipe and starts beating his ass. And basically they start fighting, and Corbin gets the better of him and takes a fucking forklift and fucking lowers the two
The forklift thingies, we're gonna call them.
The forklift things.
If anyone works in construction, give a call to the No Politics podcast.
Let us know what they're called.
And yeah.
But he lowers it and basically traps Ambrose. It wasn't completely trapping him. Ambrose sold it mad good.
Yeah.
But it was something different, so I definitely like that.
Yeah.
And basically, Ambrose had to be taken out in the hospital, in an ambulance, and taken to the hospital or some shit like that. They said.
Blah blah. Yeah. Nah. Hopefully we don't see them next week after this, and they give the tag champs and that feud some time. But yeah, I like the way it ended this segment anyway. So I like that it wasn't a complete rehashing of the week before. They actually did something with it. But continue.
Yeah, and that segment was pretty short. I mean, it was entertaining but short. But following up after that was the women's segment with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James.
Man, I love
coming
Alexa
down to
Bliss.
the ring so that Alexa Bliss could announce her WrestleMania opponent.
Yeah, it was her Blissertation.
Yep.
And one thing I liked was, okay, so who's the first person that comes out? Is it Becky?
Becky.
Okay, so Becky comes out, and then Natty comes out, and then the part I liked was where Mickie says, what are y'all talking about? It's gonna be me versus Alexa at Mania. And then Bliss has to kind of like step back and, give her the look like, huh? Which is what we've been talking about for a while with Mickie, trying to put herself in that title picture eventually. And then they all just kind of were going back and forth, talking, and this to me dragged too long. It wasn't. Nobody dropped Nobody dropped any like haymakers on the mic. Nobody killed it. Like the thing about Alexa Bliss's mic work is she's great on the mic to me. She's solid anyway. I wouldn't say great, but solid. But her mic work is always, it's not so much I'm dropping punchlines and haymakers, but it's like her attitude that kind of gets her to maneuver and her little underhanded comments. So she's not the type to get on the mic and just kind of pipe bomb the shit, So because of that, none of the other ones really did much on the mic. It was
one thing on the mic that did stick out to me was when she told Natty that she's the worst there is, the worst there was,
and the worst there ever will be. That I love.
Which was a nice twist on the whole, the whole Bret Hart thing.
Yep, I like that.
That was probably the most.
I don't know if the crowd did the crowd catch it. I didn't feel like the crowd reacted to it. That was what I didn't like. But that's my thing.
Daniel
That's
Bryan.
what I was kind of saying with Bliss is that her shit isn't like obvious like haymaker type shit. Hers is kind of like these underhanded shit. But it just felt like a drag.
Bryan came out.
Yeah. Thank God. It seemed like I was waiting forever for someone to interrupt.
And then he announced basically that Alexa will defend her belt against every woman that's
available on the
SmackDown roster.
So maybe that puts Naomi in if she's able to be cleared, but so far, still, she's not going to be ready. But it leaves it open. It leaves it open, and that's kind of cool. And I've been talking about this for a while, that I thought that the SmackDown women's title was going to be defended at Mania in a I was saying like a 7-way ladder match against all the women, basically. All 7. Carmella, Natty. I mean, Nikki has something to do now, so not her, but... And Naomi might be injured, so maybe not her either. But I thought the way to get as many women involved as possible would be in, putting them all in a not in a ladder match, but in a women's title match at Mania where they'd all get a shot, because it almost seemed like there was nothing big enough, for Bliss to defend her title. Like, there was no, like, big enough storyline from the women where it would have warranted, like, a one-on-one SmackDown women's title match at Mania. So I was like, put them all in, and to me, I'm thinking a ladder match, because that's the way to put it over the top. Otherwise, it's just a women's title match with everyone involved. But if you make it a ladder match, it's like, okay, first time women's ladder match.
I would love to see that. I would really, really fucking love to see that.
Yeah,
but
especially at Mania.
Knowing what WWE usually, ends up doing, it'll probably
disappointing.
Be a
You mean
royal.
Disappointing? Yeah. WWE usually disappoints. So Yeah, I could just see it
Yeah.
being a battle royal or something, but that's me wishful thinking.
I also liked when Daniel Bryan said, I've learned something. I learned a few things from our future Hall of Fame inductee Teddy Long. And we're gonna have a holla holla tag match, player. That was hilarious. And he put Alexa Bliss and Mickey James against Natty and Becky Lynch.
Yeah, just skip right to the finish on this one.
Yeah, it was a pretty, uneventful, normal tag match. All in all, Mickey James and Alexa Bliss ended up getting the win.
Yeah, but I believe Natty actually took out Becky on her own, and
Yeah,
which
you're
we
right.
should
You're
know.
right.
We should know at this point, or Becky should know at this point, not to trust Natty, not
Natty,
to trust
of
anyone.
course.
But so
Natty
Natty
don't fuck
kind
with
of
nobody.
exactly. Natty takes her out, leaves her, and then Mickey is in, and then Alexa tags Mickey and goes for the pin, and
Yep.
gets the pin. 1, 2, 3.
And that leads
to Mickey kind of just looking at Alexa a little bit at first and just kind of like, skeptical of what's going on. And then she strikes
takes her out.
with a mick kick, which looked
Yep,
brutal. It was a dope mick kick, actually.
Yeah, and you've been calling this for a while now. Like you said, you get close to the champ, you befriend the champ, and you get your opportunity.
Man, thank you for giving me props on that. but yeah, so it seemed obvious, but thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
Working genius,
And
only
then-
at the No Politics podcast.
And then after that, we get the last segment of the night, the last match of the night, and definitely was the biggest highlight of the night. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, man. For the first time since AJ's been in the WWE.
Yeah.
And I was hyped for this fucking match, man. What a fucking match, man. They went back and forth. They fucking told a great story. They had a lot of time. They had mad time, which I was definitely proud of that. I wasn't mad at that.
They had so much time that I remember looking at the clock and it was like 9:30. And they had so much time that AJ came to the ring and like started speaking. Like he cut a promo because they had so much time. And he said a few things that I wanted to highlight because he said not welcome to SmackDown Live, but he was like, SmackDown Live is the house that AJ Styles built, which I thought was fucking dope. He said he took a B show and made it into the show, which I fucking thought was fire. And then he said Randy Orton burns down a man's house and gets rewarded for it, which I also loved. So
yeah.
So I thought he killed that promo.
Thank you for actually reminding me of that. I almost just literally skipped over that whole part and was like ready to just jump into the match.
Yeah. But Orton comes out.
That was dope. I love AJ Styles, man. He's just phenomenal. Like literally, like the nickname fits. Like,
yeah.
But what a fucking match, man. And particularly the ending of the
finish.
match.
I love the finish.
Oh my god,
man.
That finish when Styles went for
god,
that he was gonna go for the fucking phenomenal forearm or the splash.
The phenomenal forearm.
And Orton jumps up for the RKO, but he literally gets nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Yo. It was like, and at that moment, I remember texting you. I texted you, AJ Styles is a genius.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. And like, I can't imagine, like, how potentially, like, difficult and dangerous that is to spring and then, like, jump back and land on the apron. Like, that apron, that's not a large area to land back on, especially after jumping on. So it was just, I thought it was awesome. That's
years of experience. He knows that ring, like, it's home. That's his home, bro.
That was, it was incredible. And then, and then he goes for the splash because Orton's on his back. And then what happens?
Once he faked that forearm, he went to go for the 450 splash. Randy got out of the way. AJ, once he missed it, rolled out of it. When he gets up, he goes to run at Randy. Randy throws him up, hits him with the RKO, and finishes the match. 1, 2, 3, right there.
Yeah, it was No pun intended. Phenomenal. but yeah, it was. I thought it was dope. I just, like I said, it was genius. I had to. It was the only thing I could think of that was genius when he did it, and then had to switch up because now that Orton was on his back, instead of going for the forearm, had to go for the splash, and missed. Was still able to roll through, and then made the mistake of running at Orton, and I just thought it was dope that Orton threw him up to catch the RKO. That really made it like statement, and that was that 1, 2, 3, and AJ lost clean.
Man. That was a dope fucking match, man, and SmackDown every week is consistently good, but they keep having great main events. Like Raw will have a great beginning, great end, but their main events sometimes are like, okay, it's a contract signing, or it's this, or it's that. SmackDown continues to have great main event matches.
Yeah.
And it's fucking it's amazing, like what they're doing with that brand, man.
Yeah.
Like AJ Styles said, it went from the B show to the show.
Absolutely agree. With that being said, there's a weird little thing, but I didn't like SmackDown too much this week. But I agree with the excellent main event matches. It just, I hated the opening, that whole recapping, spending 15 to 20 minutes recapping everything. The women's segment was, the Ambrose segment was decent. The main event, obviously cool. We didn't see Bray Wyatt, didn't see the tag champs. I didn't like that. I'm okay not seeing Bray because he's going through something. He's probably trying to rebuild his house. I don't. Bray's been sleeping on the street lately, but no Harper either, right? No Harper.
No Harper. Nope.
So it was kind of. I don't know. I didn't love SmackDown this week.
So now I think I know exactly what happened. No Harper, no Wyatt. It's clear they were on a date. They were rehashing their whole situation.
He needs
they
help.
They were making up for
He needs help
lost
putting the
time.
house back together. And this is perfect. And, Bray was probably wilding out in the woods, like screaming at himself, and Harper shows up and he hands him like a brick to, because they're gonna start together, like they're gonna start their new life together.
Word.
I'm still here
exactly
for you.
Probably happened.
So I like that. Hopefully we get some exclusive footage on that next week.
But yeah, man. All in all, man, decent week for wrestling. Monday Night Raw definitely did their thing this week.
I think they get the W this week.
They definitely get the W this week. And yeah, man, we still got 3 more weeks, like I said earlier, on the road to WrestleMania. So we just gotta buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, hopefully it's a good ride.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about wrestling before I close out the show?
Nah, just Raw. I thought I'm a SmackDown guy, but Raw got it this week. I definitely got to give it its props. So hopefully SmackDown comes harder next week.
Bet. And we definitely appreciate everybody who interacted with us and joined the conversation. But before we go, I just want to say, today marks the 20th anniversary since we lost the late, great, notorious B.I.G. I want to say rest in peace to Biggie.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, we're going to end the show. We're going to play a little Biggie. But I just want to say thank you to everybody out there that's been with us since day one. Follow us on all our social media, all our platforms. You can follow me at Faking No Moves, FAKINNOMOVES. That's on Twitter and on Instagram.
And you can follow me at Working Genius, WORKINGENIUS. Catch me on Instagram. I would tell you to catch me on Snapchat, but I'm kind of keeping my distance from Snapchat these days because Instagram just basically stole Snapchat's swag. So just catch me on that. But make sure you catch both of us at the No Politics Podcast, at No Politics Podcast on Instagram, on SoundCloud, NOPOLITICS Podcast. Obviously,
Also on
you gotta
YouTube.
spell that. Also on YouTube, absolutely.
Yep. And rest in peace, Biggie Smalls. Peace.